The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of the Side Project Live are not necessarily those of the Illinois Libertarian Party, the National Libertarian Party, Radio Fubar, Tuieville, LRN.FM, the kindly old neighbor on the corner, some random jerk who just cut me off on I-80, the entire Broadway cast of Hair, Bruce Rauner or Pat Quinn, or the Martian Invaders. So there.
We'd like to invite you and all the members of your household
to gather around and join us now
for a very special episode of
Side Project Live. And what's so special about it?
I'm not wearing any pants.
You know who likes special entertainment like that? My mom!
And welcome once again, everybody, to another action-packed, laugh-a-minute, side-splitting episode of the Side Project Live. The Side Project Live is brought to you by the DuPage Libertarians. The DuPage Libertarians meet on the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. in Addison, Illinois, at the American Tap Pub and Grill, located at 701 West Lake Street in Addison. $5 burgers, craft beer, what more can you ask for? Remember, aren't you hungry for DuPage Libertarians now, Herb? And broadcasting from high atop the Side Project Towers is Jim Goebel.
and broadcasting from way down in the basement studio dungeon facility in Lockport, Illinois, it's Eric Ferguson.
And hopefully our other host will be joining us in just a matter of moments. And I don't have any sort of a message from him. It's bad form to like keep checking your phone. When you're broadcasting, but sometimes that's the only contact you have with your guests or co-hosts, and
mine's right over here.
Yeah, I keep mine constantly plugged in. I'm really paranoid when it comes to some things, like my phone going out when I need it, and well, maybe that's just about it. But because you always know that. When you need something, it's either not going to work or not going to be there, or you don't have it. And there's always that one thing when you're going through your stuff, you're like, nah, I don't need this anymore, and you throw it away. 5 years later, like, where the heck did I put that thing? And it always invariably happens. But speaking of paranoia, today at noon is all over the world is the Global March Against Chemtrails. So, if you're not doing anything around lunchtime, your local time, you might want to avail yourself of that. So,
no.
Well, you can go out and mock them.
Okay.
They do have they are running a live stream call-in show. So, that could be some fun. And, what?
So if you see one, you can call in and go, "Ooh, there it is."
You know what? Technically, those things in the sky are chemtrails because water is a chemical.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So they're not technically wrong, but
that's why alcohol is a solution.
It is a solution, technically. To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. I used to be able to do a better Homer Simpson impersonation, but we've already gone through my whole repertoire, I guess, at this point. But some other notes. We do have tomorrow in Morris, Illinois. This week has been Corn Festival here in Morris, and we are the Illinois. No, it's not the Illinois. The DuPage Libertarians are going to be having. They're actually going to be in the parade tomorrow. The parade starts at 2, I think. Okay. I have to double check that. In fact, I'll look that up right now. But they're going to be in the parade, and I will be in it. I will be, since I've been having horrible problems with my left foot. I will not be marching in it, but I will be riding in in the back of a truck with our Senate candidate Sharon Hansen.
Oh, okay.
So be watching out for that. And let me just see if I can't grab the time here real quick. Come on, load. Sometimes high-speed internet just doesn't seem so high-speed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Instant gratification and all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut out early today. I can hang around for a little while, but I got to get my kid to a thing in a while. So.
Sure, not a problem. Here's the schedule. Okay, parade is tomorrow at. Yeah, the parade is at 2. I want to think it used to be earlier than that. I'm probably wrong. All right. So anyway, there's that. Let me see. There was one other thing. I just wanted to mention we got a comment on YouTube on one of our videos, episode 132. That's where we interviewed Lupe Diaz and Ben Coyle. I'm not going to reveal the person's name who left the comment, but the comment he left was, "We libertarians have a lot of work to do. Our use of social media is embarrassing. This is a good example. Sorry." I messaged him back and asked him, well, if there's any problems, what can we do to improve the show? You got any suggestions, anything like that? Granted, I only messaged him back this morning, so I haven't heard anything back yet. But I encourage anyone, if you got any questions or comments or anything, contact us, please. We have a call-in number. I'm sorry, Google Voice, 815-200-4912. Our Twitter handle is @thesideproject2. Our email is our email is thesideproject2@gmail. Hashtag TSP Live if you want to do that. And then or if you want to listen to our back episodes, you can get on our The Side Project page on YouTube, or you can hear the back episodes on tsplive.com. We're in the iTunes store, and we would appreciate some ratings. You can hear the show live every Saturday morning on radiofubar.com at 9 a.m. If you join the Side Project Live Facebook page, you'll get a link to the video of the show. I got to find a way to make that one consistent URL, because every week it's a different URL. Obviously, it's a different event every week, but it would be nice to have one single URL that I could just release out there, and I'm looking into that, so we'll see what happens. But you can also listen to us on your TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone, tablet, or Roku box. Just search for Radio Fubar. You'll hear us and all of your favorite Radio Fubar shows. And actually, we're also on TuiVille.com every Sundays, just afternoon. Last week it was like about 15-20 minutes late because I thought it was going to air like right at noon, but it has to wait until the previous show is done, and so it varies within like 20 minutes. And speaking of that, Tuiville is also on TuneIn Radio, so if you got like a couple of hours on a weekday morning, you might want to give that show a listen to. And we're also on the Stitcher app on your smartphone. If you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com, that's patreon.com/TSPLive, and you can make a low per episode donation. And I keep forgetting to mention this. There are Side Project Live T-shirts. You go to radiofubar.bigcartel.com, and they are in there. So how you doing?
Doing okay, as a matter of fact. Oh, and yeah, we'll take the criticism of the program. Remember, we're just here goofing off. I mean, don't take it too seriously,
No, I mean, it's not like we're doing this seriously. I mean, it would be nice if we could make a living off of this, but for the most part, it's pretty much a hobby.
We're talking around here. This is we're talking about some things that might be important, but we're having fun with it. That's the whole point.
People have model trains or build rockets or whatever, and this is my hobby. It's cheaper to get into than model trains. And Lord knows I'd love to get into more model trains, but man, you see some of the setups some of these people have?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Who was it? I may have mentioned this on the show, but I was reading an article about it was probably on Craft. That's one of the I keep bringing that site up, but that's probably one of the best websites out there. Humor is
I love
formative.
Crack.
Oh
Crack
God,
Back.
it's an awesome website, and they had an article on there about hobbies, or it was something about hobbies that celebrities have, or that you didn't know celebrities have, or that something like that. And Rod Stewart is a huge model train fanatic. In fact, he's got a huge layout in his house in Switzerland, I think it is. And the only magazine he will ever let into his house is Model Railroader. And in fact, he's come out and said that Model Railroader is either better or more important magazine than Rolling Stone. You know, I gotta hand it to him. I gotta tip my hat to him, man. That's pretty dang awesome.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, you hear these stories about Rod Stewart being like a bit of a jerk and that sort of thing, but you know, he's down beneath. He's pretty much a normal guy. Granted, he's got a model train set that most of us only dream we could have, but you know, there you go. I'm still trying to get our other co-host in here, and I don't know if he's having any success, but he wanted to talk about something, and we're going to bring it up here. He wanted to talk about rape culture. I've actually been hearing more about rape culture and feminism recently in both libertarian and skeptical atheist circles. I guess there's been some stuff going on. What's his name? Richard Dawkins had a tweet recently where he mentioned rape. I should have brought this stuff up. Hold on a second. Let me bring up the quote here. And then Sam Harris just recently said something. Okay. Here's let me just bring this up here. This is from the independent.uk. And this was from, I don't see a date on this. Oh, this was from July. Okay, Richard Dawkins, come on, page, load. There we go. Richard Dawkins has said date rape is bad and stranger rape at knife point is worse, and contrasted mild pedophilia with violent pedophilia on Twitter. And let me see. He wrote, here it is. Here it is. Date rape is bad. Stranger rape at knife point is worse. If you think that's an endorsement of date rape, go away and learn how to think. That's what there was a huge thing about that because people were interpreting it as meaning that he was endorsing rape on a date or something when he was really doing no such thing.
Yeah, which is silly because didn't his statement specifically say not that?
And here's the other thing: is that this is Twitter. You only have 140 characters, and he may have been pushing the limit with what he posted, and so you can't really have like a huge intellectual discussion on Twitter. I'm willing to give him benefit of the doubt on this, and then let me see if I can bring up what Sam Harris. I should have loaded this stuff up. Or was this a feminist thing? Let me see here. Come on. I'd say we could edit this out, but we're live. Okay. Yeah, I can't really find the quote, but he and this has been all the talk lately. Is Sam Harris has had something he was talking about? It was either rape or feminism or whatever, and I know Lek had something he wanted to talk about. There was an experience he wanted to bring up, and I'm gonna try to invite him again, but I find it interesting that this is like all the talk recently, and in doing some research on this. I found an article that I thought was very interesting, and it is from everydayfeminism.com. This is from March, and the article is entitled 25 Everyday Examples of Rape Culture. Okay?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
And I didn't read all of it, but I read, a bunch of this and, some of these statistics and stuff. And I'm okay. I mean, I understand the complaint of some of this, but I mean, some of these things, they're just picking out, an individual occurrence and using that to amplify their point. And it's kind of silly.
But let's go through some of these here. Let me see here real quick. Going to gloss over the intro. Chances are, as feminists and other liberal-minded people, most of you heard the phrase rape culture. It's often used in feminist circles, and it describes a very important social conditioning that we experience culturally. But how many of you know what it actually looks like? In reading through feminist forums and articles online, particularly in articles about rape or sexual assault, I notice that sometimes in the comments section people make statements about how rape culture is just a phrase that's made up to make men look bad or to make it seem like rape is something that happens far more often than it actually does. And given after reading these comments, I could have easily dismissed them as just simply fodder for written by online trolls and gone on with my day. But it really got me thinking, perhaps some people don't truly don't understand what rape culture is. After all, if you're hearing the phrase for the first time, it can be really confusing. And scroll down. Okay, and here's going down to her examples of rape culture. Okay, she's got 25 of them. And we're going to go through as many of these as we can. All right, and I agree with a lot of the concerns on these things. That's the thing.
I do too, absolutely.
And the very first one is a university in Canada that allows the following student orientation chant. Y is for your sister, O is for oh so tight, U is for underage, N is for no consent, G is for grab that ass. I definitely have a problem with. Because it's disrespectful, and I think that's going to be a common theme here. As I take a drink, and let's go on to number 2. Okay, pop music that tells women you know you want it because of these blurred lines of consent. And now that's the Robin Thicke song, Blurred Lines, which Weird Al did the parody of, which was much better. And there's actually 2 videos for that song. There is an R-rated where all of the women dancing in it are topless. And there is a really good, I mean, that's another really good point. I mean, music these days is, well, not really these days. I mean, it's really been a part of modern music, and really, if you want to get down to it, it's been a part of music for how long? How long? There's talk about misogyny and women being hoes and getting with women and once again, a lot of that is disrespectful.
Yeah, but how much of it is suggesting that it's okay to rape? I mean, that's what they're trying to claim here, and. Yeah, I mean, there is certainly some concern. I mean, they treat objectification of women. It's all over popular music. I get that, but to say that that these things are that we take rape lightly because we're just accustomed to it. It's what happens. So yeah, whatever. Really, I don't feel that way.
And we're going to get into more of this as we go on, but. One thing I really hate is when people go off, well, you're a man, you wouldn't understand, and you don't have a right to talk about this. You know what? I got 2 daughters, okay? I don't want them to get raped. I want them to feel safe and secure. And one thing that Lick was saying a while back was that he was talking on a forum. I think he was talking to this post show last week, where they were talking about, he got into a discussion with somebody about rape culture, and what happened was that he suggested women should learn self-defense, and then somebody shot back that he was blaming the victim, and that's something else that's going to be on the list here. And the discussion, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, so if you don't want to get raped, learning self-defense is blaming the victim. I don't want to get robbed. So if I prepare and to learn to defend myself about not getting it robbed or not getting stabbed or whatever, am I blaming myself because I'm taking preparation?
No.
Everybody should be prepared for any sort of crime against their person.
It should be empowering. Quite the opposite. You're not a victim. I refuse to be a victim. That's the whole point.
Exactly. And it's not blaming the victim. It's preventing people from being a victim.
Yeah.
And I want my kids, my daughters, my son, to be able to protect themselves if they're threatened. And it's not saying anything about them. It's saying something about society where we feel the need to have to do stuff like that. I mean, let's be honest. We would all love to live in a utopia where everybody is safe 100% of the time, but that society doesn't exist. It's never going to exist. We're going to have people that are going to be jerks. That are going to infringe on your rights for happiness.
The world is not made out of Nerf.
Exactly. You know, we can't just we just can't crap puppies and pee rainbows. You know, I mean that's not going to happen. I mean, we live in a real world with real dangers, and everybody, regardless of who you are, you know, rich or poor, black or white, male or female, tall or small, bigger, thin, or green or purple or whatever, we all have to be ready to. We all have to assume that at some point there's going to be some sort of assault against our person.
Well, anything, and the other thing is too is okay. Yeah, it's a dangerous place, but you don't have to be hyper vigilant because the vast majority of us, nothing will happen. Our boring, miserable lives, we go through all of it and don't have any of those stories to tell. It just doesn't happen. It does happen to some of us, and that's terrible and it's unfortunate. But for the most part, you're going to be fine.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like you're going to go out there every day, and have somebody assault you. But at some point, something will happen. I was working the graveyard shift at a convenience store one time, and some guys busted in with a gun and held me at gunpoint, and I didn't know what to do. I wasn't prepared for it. I'm one of these people that is like. I try not to use violence. I guess I'm kind of anti-violence, but there's a time and a place for it. And if your kid does something wrong, no. But if somebody is threatening to kill you, then yeah, I mean that's the right time and the right place. And but sadly in our society, you could be in the city of Chicago, and if somebody breaks into your house and you try to stop them. You could get arrested for having a gun.
Yeah, you become a criminal.
Exactly. And let's go down the list here a little more. Okay. A judge who sentenced only 30 days in jail to a 50-year-old man who raped a 14-year-old girl who later committed suicide and defended that the girl was older than her chronological age. Okay, only 30 days in jail. I agree that that's outrageous. And and there is the whole statutory rape thing as well. The 30 days in jail is. I'd like to see the details of the case. I'm not saying I am agreeing with the 30 days in jail, but I'm just saying I would like to see the details so I could delve more into it, see if maybe I could think what the heck the judge was thinking. But here in Illinois, up until a couple of years ago, you could spend more time in jail for video recording a police officer during a traffic stop than if you committed a rape.
Yeah.
They overturned the video recording of police officers law a couple of years ago, but 14-year-old girl. But the thing that really gets me though is that with these laws, and we've talked about it before, if you are 18 and your girlfriend is 16 and you have sex with her, the 18-year-old can go to jail, even though they're only two years difference.
Yeah. But if they're 1 year apart, you're only 17. Oh, that's okay.
Although I have heard cases where that the 18-year-old has gone to jail too, and it does seem to me that for the most part, if it's the other way around, where the older person is the female, that there isn't as much of a big deal made about it. Now, I don't have any statistics. I'm saying that's just what I've seen. Although there was a case recently where a teacher. Oh, what was the case? We brought it up. There was a case recently where a teacher had sex with one of her students, and this was like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And then just recently, she sued the student who she had sex with, who was underage,
Right.
for child support. And I've not heard much in the way of outrage from feminists about that. I don't know. I mean, you rarely hear of an older woman getting thrown in jail or whatever because she was assaulting a younger male, unless she's a teacher and unless she was pretty good looking. And the only reason I think because of that is because the media loves good-looking women. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's why Fox News made a big deal out of that missing woman in, was it the Bahamas several years back? And it was just like every freaking hour for like months, it seemed like, that they were talking about this case, and everyone's like, so what? I mean, we got missing persons cases all over the United States, and you're not commenting on any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yes, I have.
I love that. And there's the one scene in there where it's a Fox News clip, and who are the two, co-anchors? The bodybuilder and swimsuit model, right? That's
Yeah. Yep.
It's just kind of funny, but that is the way it is.
Mm-hmm. And then let me see here. Let's go on. Number 4, mothers who blame girls for posting sexy selfies and leading their sons into sin instead of talking with their sons about their responsibility for their own sexual expression. Okay. I don't know. I need to think about this one more. I read this article the other day, and I'm still trying to feel what I think about this one. Yeah, it is important to talk with our sons about their sexual responsibility, the responsibility for their own sexual expression.
But shouldn't the mothers be telling their daughters not to do that? I mean, this is worded such that it sounds like it's okay.
Yeah, and honestly, anybody shelves, however they want. I was listening to, what was the podcast the other day? Atheistically Speaking. It's with Thomas Smith, I think his name is. And he was bringing up the point that, he was really, he had a whole nuanced approach to this whole thing with feminism and rape culture that's going on. And he was like, men are sexual creatures, and that's just hardwired into us. And in that, we do need to learn, how to express our sexuality and learn how to, I don't know, have it conform with social norms or whatever. But, I mean, you can't just tell men to stop hitting on women or that something or that sort of thing because they look good. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if we could, we'd do every woman we'd see,
I don't know about that.
Well, maybe a good percentage of them.
Yeah, but, I hate it when positions are put that way, women aren't sexual creatures. I mean, they may have a different approach and, may not, just be, throwing themselves at every guy in the club or something, but, they're not sexual creatures, of course. You're a human. That's what it is. I mean,
Well, it is. Yeah, it's part of being human. But I think what it comes down to is the fact that let's put it this way, we're all sexual creatures in different ways. We have a different way to deal with it. Women are more emotional, men are more physical. That's just the way that we're pretty much hardwired. I mean, obviously there is exception to that, but I mean that's just the way it is, and you know, I don't know. Let's go on here. Let's see, 5 photo memes. I'm not going to go into that because there's a picture and I can't even read the text on one of them. Number 6, supporting athletes who are charged with rape and calling their victims career destroyers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I take issue with this. This is silly.
This one I have a problem with because the way our society is if a male gets accused of being a rapist, and it sticks with them. If a male gets accused of, you know, diddling a child, it stays with them, even before they go to trial. All a male has to do is be accused. Remember what happened years ago with the, what was it, Duke University lacrosse team? And they hired that stripper, and then the stripper accused them of raping her. They were totally destroyed as humans. And then it comes out that the stripper was lying about the whole thing. And the athletes, the lacrosse team, they've got this, you know, the scarlet letter on them for the rest of their life. I mean, where's the fairness and equity in that? I can totally understand when you have people like NBA stars that think that they can, you know, go out and do anything. You know, that's one thing. But it's almost like society is set up to blame men easily. I was reading, not to do with rape, but I was reading an article in Reason magazine several years back where this one guy in California got his driver's license revoked, had his paycheck being garnished, and was just going through hell because of unpaid child support. The problem? The man is single and he never had any kids. The only reason they went after him is because he had the same name as somebody else in the state who they should have been after instead. And they wouldn't clear him. They would not clear him. And every time he brought up evidence, they just ignored it. I mean, he was guilty. He was guilty from the get-go. And his life was a living freaking hell because of this. There's no equity there.
Yeah, and getting that stuff fixed is ridiculous. But I mean, they're right. I do understand the point that they're, you know, putting this on this list. Is somehow athletes, we try to, you know, make these things go away. You know, it's okay if they rape somebody because they are who they are. If I do it, I go to prison. But, you know, if you play basketball really well, then it's, you know, they're just behaving badly. And so I understand, you know, their point, and I don't know anybody that would call the victims, you know, career killers. Really? I mean, maybe in jest over a beer at the bar, I'll say that, but, you know, they don't mean it. Don't take it seriously. It's just sport. Come on.
Well, but I think that, but in the case of the Duke lacrosse team, though, it wasn't so much that the quote-unquote victim in that case destroyed their career. She basically destroyed their lives. And once again, you know, once you're accused of something like that, I mean, that's it. I've told the story before about there was this guy that lived on our street when we were in the Kankakee area who was accused of being a pedophile. And he was on the sexual offender list. And he was just 2 or 3 doors down from us. And the reason he was on the list is because he was like 19 and he had sex with a 17-year-old girlfriend.
Right.
And so he's now on this list for doing something that wasn't that bad.
Forever.
And then, you know, people get put on that list for urinating in public. Women get put on that list for breastfeeding in public.
Yeah, stuff like that. You know, soliciting prostitution. You go on the list. Now you have to go and knock on your neighbor's door and tell them that you're a sex offender.
Yeah. And you get in some localities, the state, county, local government, whatever, puts a sign in your front yard that says "sexual offender lives here." I mean, we're way too lenient with the whole situation. Not lenient. We're way too strict. We're way too paranoid. We're way too paranoid about the whole thing, and it just doesn't. There's no, once again, there's no equity in the system. And let's see.
Here in Illinois, even a DUI arrest, no conviction, just an arrest, it stays on your record forever. And you can't get rid of it. It does not go away.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing that in society that I really, and I've done this myself, but we tend to believe that once somebody does action A, whatever it is, at some point in their life, then they're going to be like that the whole rest of their life. But people can change. People can see their past mistakes. People can learn from them. Not everybody does, and I'll grant that point. But people should be judged on what they've done recently and not what they've done, years and years and years ago. Like, I know this is not going to be very popular, but people keep bringing up how Obama went to that one racist, weird church in Chicago in his past. But I haven't seen anything. I mean, Obama's probably a nice enough guy, and I probably wouldn't mind having a beer with him. When it comes to policy, he sucks. He's horrible. But I don't think he would be racist or prejudiced against me or really anybody. I mean, I don't think he... And when he said that he went to the church but he didn't really listen to the sermons, I believe him, because I used to go to church and I could count on one hand how many sermons I listened to. I usually just would usually just fall asleep because they were boring. But people can change, and I don't know. That's kind of my point there.
Yeah, well, I mean, and lumping things together, if you're convicted of a felony, you lose your right to keep and bear arms. Well, what if that felony is tax evasion? It wasn't a violent crime, but now I can't use a firearm to defend myself forever.
Yeah, and you're just a walking target. And I don't know. I mean, the society is so totally freaking screwed up. And let's move on here. Let's see. Companies that create decals of women bound and gagged in order to promote their business. And I clicked the link on this because I hadn't heard on. Oh yeah, I have seen this. Okay, it was a decal that they put on the gate on the back of a pickup truck, and it looked like it was just the bed of the truck, and there was a woman bound and gagged on the decal. It looked like she was being kidnapped in the back of this pickup truck, and it was a business in Texas, Hornet Signs. They put the decal on the back of an employee's truck to show how realistic its signs are. A female employee volunteered to be tied up and photographed for the promotional material. I wasn't expecting the reactions that we got, nor was it really anything we certainly condone or anything else. Okay. If it's not anything you certainly condone, then why the hell did you do it? That's the owner of the sign company.
Because they thought it was funny and it looks pretty cool.
But
it's an amazingly good.
I mean, it's a surprisingly realistic image, but I have to agree that's. Boy, the people who are watching this are seeing the expressions on my face here. But I mean, yeah, you're gonna get notoriety, but what is that really going to do to your business? I honestly, if I saw that and if they had like the contact information for the company, don't think I would. I think I would think twice about patronizing them, patronizing, or going in there, because rape culture or not, that's just really tasteless and tacky.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a level above the fake bullet holes on the back of the car. This is a little more dramatic.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think some people. Oh, here it is. Some viewers said they even called the police when they saw the decal, thinking a woman was really in trouble.
I'm sure.
And then we got a whole nother level of BS there, where the cops, who really, well, let's be honest, they don't really have much better to do other than give people tickets. You're wasting their time when they could be out and solving a real crime. Granted, they could be solving a real crime instead of writing tickets, but that's a topic for a different day. And I'm on board with this blog 100% on that. let me see, number 8 here. People who believe that girls allow themselves to be raped. And I think this ties into what with the conversation Lek was having that I had brought up earlier, in which, speaking of which, and I haven't heard from him.
Jim?
Oh, you're here!
Second time I
Here he
got
is.
We were just
disconnected. I got
talking about
disconnected the first time. Yeah,
okay.
that's nice.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
going on with your topic about rape culture, and I've got this list from everydayfeminism.com about 25 examples of rape culture, and we're at number 8 here. Tell us about tell us about the conversation you had with somebody when you suggested that they learn self-defense training.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll be glad to. About February or March this year, a girl who I've worked with in film before posted, and by the way, it should be noted that she works, I think she's moved from this job since then, but at the time she was working at a hotel, and one of her responsibilities was to, go to rooms and, fix problems that occurred, which, made her feel very threatened, and she said with all the rape culture and everything going on, she feels fortunate to have never been raped. So what I did was I posted a very calm message, and this is someone with whom I'd never talked politics before at all, by the way. And so I posted a message to her publicly, and I said, I understand your concern, but you need to understand that being raped is not inevitable. There are things that you can do. Self-defense is one thing I mentioned, but I mentioned other things, just, avoiding potentially dangerous situations. I said, now there's no absolute guarantee that you'll never be raped, but you can cut back on the, chances by probably over 90% by doing a few simple things. And, I said that what, I try to do and is to empower women so that they won't be at the mercy of men, and then she just went on and gave the usual nonsense that I was victim,
That you were, I'm sorry, you were what?
Victim blaming.
Okay.
And then I just gave her all kinds of examples, and I said, look, I've got a daughter. I want rape stopped as much as anybody, and these are things I'm teaching my daughter, and it's one of those things. I mean, and I used a parallel, and you made a great point yourself in the last episode, Jim, that men are sexually assaulted too, and that's a fact that's often brushed under the rug, but it is a fact. But even aside from that, I used mugging as an example. I mentioned that I'm 43. I'm not an imposing figure by any means. I live in a big, violent, high-crime city, and I've never been mugged. And I think while there's no guarantee that I won't be in the future, a lot of it is because I have not put myself in high-risk situations. And I think if women, because one of the things I suggested was, don't drink alcohol, especially large amounts of alcohol, at parties where there are a lot of strangers around. I mean, it should be good old-fashioned common sense. I mean, even if you're not for getting raped, I mean, somebody could take your purse and your credit cards and everything, if you're in that kind of a position. So I mean, it ought to be good old-fashioned common sense not to do it, but and then her friends got in, and they all were all teaming up on me, and not one of them saw any validity in anything I said. And I actually asked a female libertarian friend of mine to get in on it, and unfortunately she was away that weekend and didn't get messages until it was too late. But so that really got me, it really made me aware about the way that so many women feel helpless, and the way that libertarianism is the one philosophy that empowers women. I think that one thing that I always emphasize as well, if you look back to what feminism was 100 years ago, it's dramatically different than it is now. I mean, feminism, you go back to the Susan B. Anthony days, it was about women having independence, whereas today feminism is about women simply depending on the government instead of on men. And another
are
thing
you on your cell phone?
Yeah, that's part of the reason I've been having this problem.
Okay, because you are getting some of that kind of electronic breakup sound. We can hear you mostly.
Yeah, I'm getting. Okay. Well, anyway, and then I encourage these women, by the way, to carry guns. And then, you know, one of the who started the conversation said that she could never carry a gun. You know, and then another one said that, you know, that would put her that her carrying a gun would put her at a greater risk. You know, because that's another weapon that a rapist could use.
I mean, there is always a possibility. I mean, just because you carry a gun or no self-defense doesn't mean something bad isn't going to happen to you. I mean,
it certainly reduces the risk, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
But we talked about this quite a bit in the post-show last week. And I actually brought it up earlier in this episode. But you got to look at it as the fact that it's not victim blaming.
No.
What it is that everybody has a right to be comfortable and confident in their personal security and their person, you know, in their individual self. And
yes.
Everybody does. And nobody deserves to be a victim of anything. And sadly, we don't live in a utopia where, you know, violence and crime never happens. So everybody, don't care who you are, needs to be prepared and assume that something could happen to you. And this is not victim blaming. We're not blaming. First of all, to be victim blaming, you'd have to have a victim to blame. And so we're not victim blaming because there's no victim here. We're just telling people to be prepared because sometime something's going to happen to you when you're going to be threatened. It could be a crime. It could be dangling over the edge of a cliff, you know, hanging from a dandelion like Wile E. Coyote. But, hey, Eric says he has to get going here.
Yep.
So, got any last words?
No, go ahead. Carry on, you guys. This is moving along steadily, but unfortunately I have to get my daughter to a thing, so I have to go.
Uh-oh, so got a daughter.
Yeah, all three of us do. So obviously all three of us have a motive. All three of us have a vested interest here.
Yeah, and we want our daughters to be safe, and you know, it's up to fathers and mothers to teach not just their daughters but their kids.
Yeah, I'm trying to
be safe.
Her being a victim. She's not a victim. I'm trying to avoid that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and another thing is that our daughters are not going to be safe if we teach them, as these girls claim, that the solution to rape is to, you know, teach men not to you know, do this. I mean, right. I don't want my daughter's chances of getting raped to be at the mercy of men reforming themselves, because chances are that's not going to happen, at least in any significant number.
So, anyway, we'll see you later, Eric.
Very good.
Have fun, and we'll see you next week.
Okay. See ya.
And as long as we got this lull in the conversation, I'm going to once again plug the Side Project Live is brought to you by the DuPage Libertarians. The DuPage Libertarians meet on the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. in Addison, Illinois at the American Tap Pub and Grill located at 701 West Lake Street in Addison. $5 burgers, craft beer. What more can you ask for? Aren't you hungry for DuPage Libertarians now, Herb? That's a Burger King commercial from the 80s.
I remember that, yeah.
And I keep forgetting, we do have the Q&A open, so if there's anybody watching or whatever and you want to chime in on this topic, please do.
Yes, definitely.
We're open to any questions and comments. So, but I posted a link to this article in the chat window, Lex. So if you want to pull it while you're on your phone, you really won't be able to. Let's go down the list here. Number 9, journalists who substitute the word sex for rape as if they're the same thing. I don't really see that very often, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But if that's what they do, then they should be ashamed of themselves, because those are two totally different things.
Yeah, although even then, I wouldn't think that is, you know, I mean, it's, even though it's wrong to do, I wouldn't say that's a huge source of the problem.
Right. Let me see here. Number 10, politicians distinguishing legitimate rape and stating that rape is something that God intended to happen, among other horrendous claims.
Well, that's
Now this article does have links on almost every one of these things. So a lot of the stuff I have actually not heard of before.
yeah. Well, I know that incident that there was a nonsensical comment made by a actually, you know, well, it's a combination of nonsensical comments made by 2 Senate candidates a couple of years ago, but they were, you know, again, as nonsensical as the comments were, they're not the source of the problem.
Right.
You know, it's just.
But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I think when I first heard this one guy use the term legitimate rape, the first thing that popped into my mind, and we brought it up before, was the Duke University lacrosse case, and we're going to be bringing that up again. We've already brought it up, but that's not what he was talking about. And yeah, I pretty much had a problem with that, and then stating that rape is something that God intended to happen, among other horrendous claims.
Which is that's actually out of context. That's not exactly what he said. I mean, what he said was nonsensical, but that's not exactly what he said. So
okay, I'm not familiar with that second one, but
okay, I can just tell you really quickly. It was actually the Republicans. It was Richard Murdoch, the Republican Senate candidate here in Indiana 2 years ago, and you know, he was right to life, and you know, and I'm a right to life libertarian too. I make no apologies to that. But anyway, he was asked, you know, so what would you think in a case of a woman getting pregnant by rape? And then he just said something like that you know, the life should be welcomed as something that God intended, and you know. You know, obvious, and you could tell by the way he was stuttering. He obviously was not prepared for the question, which he should have been, because that always comes up in these debates. But
right.
You know, it's one of those things, and he was so clunky about it, and the comment came across as just so, you know, ridiculous, and it was played ad nauseum in the media, and he ended up losing, you know, the. He ended up losing the election, and he had been, I think, quite a few points ahead, and he ended up losing by 4 points. Mm-hmm. And I voted for the Libertarian Andrew Horning, by the way, in that race. But anyway, he didn't say that God intended rape.
He intended the life from the rape.
Yes.
And
yes.
I just pulled up the full quote here. Let me see. The only exception I have to an abortion is in the case of the life of the mother. That I struggled with it myself for a long time, but I came to realize life is that gift from God. I think that even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that it is something that God intended to happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, I would, if I were asked that question, and I already, you know, I'm not going to get into this because it would take us onto a whole other subject, but I mean, there are ways that he could have responded that would have been far less damning, that could have been far less exploited, you know, by you know, his opponents. So but the point is that as nonsensical as that comment was, as well as Todd Akin, he's the one who made the legitimate rape comment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those comments are not the reason that we have the rape culture. I mean, those comments were both two guys, you know, who were in debates for which they clearly are not prepared for that question, and you know, said the first thing that came to their minds. And you know, often when we speak without preparation in situations like that, we make fools out of ourselves, like they did.
Now, I'm reading this article on the Huffington Post a little further. This Donnelly guy.
Yeah, that was Donnelly was the Democrat who won.
Oh, wait. Donnelly?
Murdoch was the
guy. Oh, yeah, you're right,
it.
Murdoch. Okay, I'm sorry. This is a different guy. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
okay,
Joe Donnelly is the guy. Yeah, Joe Donnelly won the election.
Okay, let's move on here. I'm going to do 11, 12, and 13 here. Calling college students who have the courage to report their rapes liars. Number 12, the ubiquity of street harassment and how victims are told that they're overreacting when they call it out, and victims not being taken seriously when they report rapes to their university campuses. Okay, now
there is some legitimacy to those claims, unlike a lot of the others that you mentioned.
is, but there are, and this list goes through here, addresses this too, but there are a lot of, but as I brought up earlier in this episode, if you're a guy and you would get accused of rape or sexual harassment or, being a pedophile or whatever, whether it is true or not, whether you have gone to trial or not, that's it. I mean, you're tarred for life. I mean, it is, and your life is basically destroyed.
Yeah. Even if you are cleared later on, I mean, there's still going to be a certain number of people. I mean, think about, to this day, 23 years later, how many people still think Clarence Thomas sexually harassed Anita Hill? Whether he did or not is beside the point. The point is, a lot of people believe that he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe
honestly,
not
we don't really know one way or the other. I mean, a lot of the evidence that was brought up in that whole thing didn't seem convincing to me, but
nor to me either.
But that's not to say it didn't happen. It's to say that the evidence wasn't good. But
yeah. But yeah, the thing is, yeah, there are times when women, who actually have been raped are not taken seriously in their claim, or,
Yeah. I mean, it happens. It does happen.
But at the same time, we can't go to the other. At the same time, we can't go to the other extreme and just automatically assume that somebody's guilty because he's accused.
Yeah, that needs to end.
Yeah.
That definitely needs to end, but I don't see that happening in the situation and in the times that we are currently living in. I mean, if you're tarred with that, I mean, your life is basically over, and you've basically just destroyed somebody who might be innocent.
Yeah. So I mean, we always have to, go by the principle of innocence until guilt is proven. And, I mean, we should listen to those who make accusations and take them seriously, and, understand that there is no excuse for rape, but we also have to understand that there is due process, and that, we have to wait until all the facts are on the table to, make a judgment. And there are times, certainly, just a moment, hold on.
Hey everybody, just reminding you that if you have any comments you would like to chime in, we do have the Q&A open. You can contact us through our Twitter, and you can email us at thesideproject2@gmail.com. But to chime in here, we can't go all the way to the other extreme where we're saying that every man is guilty of rape, or we can't go to the extreme of some of these people out there that are saying that every male is a rapist. That is just disingenuous. That is not that, and I mean, and it's not true. I mean, men are, as I said before, men are sexual beings. I mean, of course, as Eric said, that men and women are all sexual beings. But let me see if I can unmute him here. There we go. We're all sexual beings, and that's just the way it is. But to accuse us of rape because we're men, that's just not okay. Lek, are you there? Dang it, I can't unmute you for some reason. Let's see if I can do it here. Lek, can you hear me? This is live, my friends. This is live. Oh, delightful. All righty. Okay, this hasn't been the greatest episode we've had, but let me see here. All right, I probably shouldn't have done that. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna edit all of this out in post. Let's keep going through the list here. Let me see here. We also talked about the ubiquity of street harassment and how victims are told they're overreacting when they call it out. I mean, let's be honest. Our society is based on overreaction, and not just here, but on everything. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we could all be, guys can actually take a chill pill, take a step back, but everybody needs to take a chill pill. We all overreact to everything. Everybody's getting offended by the slightest little thing, and that's just wrong. And okay, hold on here. Lek, dang, why isn't he unmuting? Alrighty. Okay, I think what we're going to do here is I'm having a hard time. Here, so let's. I think we're going to call it early today, so I cannot get him unmuted. So, all right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the show that we did so far. Not one of our best, but hey, there you go. So we will see you all again next week, and hopefully things will be better. And we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.